Morning, everybody. Welcome to the January 28th, 2021 Plumbing and Piping Work Examining Board. At this time, I would like to ask the board member to make a motion to accept the minutes of our last agenda dated November 5th, 2020.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
A second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Okay, so moved. That takes 3 pieces of paper off the table. All right.
And there are some people, excuse me, under attendees, if you wanted to address them under comments and concerns, if you wanted to let me know when you want me to allow them to talk, so you can check in and see who's here.
Okay,
Are
that
you
would
able
be
to look on the attendee column there?
okay. Hang on a second, Karen. Okay, I got more. No. Participants. I got participants.
And then you can see panelists, and then
yes,
attendees on the right-hand side, and there's a list.
Yeah, I see five people.
All right.
I just found that, Karen. It's a little different here on my computer, but I got it. No problem.
So you can let me know if you wanted me to go through, and I need to allow them to talk, and then if you wanted them to, state who they are and if they want to join, or if they're just observing, if you wanted me to do that.
Do we do each one individually?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, like Howard Ogden, of course, Howard, we
You know who Howard is? Yep.
Yep, that's fine. Jack Hawley, I'm not sure who the first phone number is. It's an 860-356-6555.
Right, I'm gonna allow that person to talk.
Okay.
The comments and concerns. If
Okay.
do you want me to do that?
That's okay, sure.
Can you hear us? The phone number 860-356-6555.
Hi, good morning. It's Gina, and I'm the Executive Director for the Connecticut PHCC.
Oh, okay. Good morning, Gina. Okay.
Good morning. I'm traveling today, so I'm on a ferry right now, so I'm on my phone. But thank you for, allowing me to participate in the meeting, or at least observe the meeting. And the only concerns or questions really that I had, I think I've reached out to Karen and also the Department of Consumer Protection, and I think it's on the agenda, but just the status of continuing ed and allowing hybrid education, both in person and online. So that would be, my only questions and concerns at the moment.
Okay. Good morning, Gina. How you doing? How's that ferry ride to Fisher's Island, or are you on the way over to the mainland?
I am actually on my way to Long Island this morning, Chuck, but everything
Oh, you're on the other one. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I spoke with one of our your director over with the Jack Hawley this morning, and he's on here as well. We're going to let him speak as well. So just so you know, in case we lose signal from you on the ferry.
Okay.
So we'll be voting on that today. So Karen, can you allow Gina stay on with us as we go through the list?
Yes, I'm going to put her over as a panelist status, that when the time comes and speak status.
Is that okay, Gina?
Yes, that's fine. Thank you.
All right, well, you're welcome. Okay. Let's, of course, let Howard Ogden in.
Mm-hmm. And then
Jack Hawley.
Jack. Okay. Let me just hit allow to talk. So Jack, can you hear us? You should be able to hear.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yep. Yep.
Okay, good. I'm on my phone on the road, so I wasn't sure how this is all going to work. So, yep, I can hear everybody.
Okay.
Yeah, you sound good, Jack. Gina is on a ferry from the PHCC. She is on the ferry right now to Long Island. So she has joined us too. I'm going to put you on as a panelist as well. So hang in there if you want.
Thanks. Yep, thank you.
Okay.
All right, and then we have a Peter Kelly. I just he can talk at this time.
Okay.
Can you hear us, Peter?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm Peter Kelly, the New England representative from IATMO, and I'm just attending as a member of the public. No comments from me.
Okay.
Welcome, Peter. Thank you for attending.
One
Wilson. Yeah, Wilson B. Temps.
We'll hit allow to talk, and we'll.
Good morning, Wilson.
Hey, how's everybody?
Good, good. Welcome. This is Chuck Appleby, the chairman of the Plumbing Piping Board. We see you. Have you got any questions for us this morning?
No, I'm just with
So
DCP.
Wilson
Pamela.
will be a part of our DCP investigations. He's our newest inspector, so I am going to introduce him at that time.
Okay. Thank you, Pamela.
Right.
Welcome aboard, Wilson. If you wouldn't mind, Karen, please put him on our
Yep.
list as well, if he has any questions. And
Do you
stuff.
want
That covers everybody.
Question before we move
Oh.
on.
Sure.
How was the link sent out? Because I texted Marcy
I
this
wanted your class.
and asked her if she was attending, and she said she never received the link. So I just wondered how the general public is made aware of the Zoom link.
There is on the agenda, and also there is a state of Connecticut calendar where it's a public calendar where I believe all agencies can put the meetings go in there. I know that we do as an agency. We put in the meetings, we attach the agenda, we put the link. Of course, if you don't know about that, you're not going to get that information. So what I can do in the future, Marcy can always email me and get the agenda and the link from me.
Yeah, I didn't forward it to her because I thought it should come from the DCP. So I just wondered.
Yeah.
So I'll tell her to just get in touch with you.
But
Thank
on DCP website, we post all the agendas and the meeting minutes
Yeah, that.
and the
No, but
links
she's
on
talking about
every,
the link to join. Is it the same link?
well, it's a link for participants, not
Yes,
for panelists.
correct.
All they have to do is click on it, go to our website, and check the latest agenda.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
she gets a hold of the agenda through the DCP website. That would be easier. There's a link, and you get to the same place as an attendee. If we see her like we just did, we can just move her over to participant. So it's always on the agenda.
Yeah, so I was just thinking I don't know if the general public knows that, but okay. I can explain that to her, but I don't know if anyone else needs to know it, so.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the January 28th agenda, everybody. And it basically just says a scheduled meeting. The top line will be held on January 28th at 9 via Zoom. And then it clearly says, please click the link below to join the webinar. So
Okay.
it's
So it's
right
clear.
on the top of the agenda. So it's there for everybody, public or non-public or members, and it's all
Okay.
there.
Thanks.
Okay, great. At this time, I want to move, we're going to hold off on the investigation status report. I want to give Commissioner Siegel an opportunity. We want to move towards the CE because she's very busy and she has a meeting within an hour she has to prepare for as well. I know she's already prepared, but I just want to give her as much time to take calls on the whole department issues as well and state business. So with that said, Commissioner, good morning and thank you for attending our meeting today.
Oh, good morning and thank you. Yeah, I do plan to listen in for as much of this as I can until 10, but just I wanted to hear, to the extent I could, the conversation around a CE, whether the board's going to recommend extending, sorry, that's my garage if you hear noise, the extension of either allowing online classes or extending the deadline to complete CE. And then just also the usual reminder ultimately whether an executive order is going to be signed doing either of those things is going to be up to the governor's office, and they need, especially now that the legislature is in session, they are, being thoughtful about how many of these laws and regulations they are going to change by virtue of an executive order. But I do want to the extent the board has input, I would, or a recommendation, certainly share that with them. But, whatever the vote is here, that doesn't officially change anything. And just want to make sure everybody understood that and understood sort of the bigger issues that need to be considered in terms of continuing to waive laws and regulations, so that if things don't go exactly as recommended, that could be the reason. But with that, I will let you guys do your meeting and look forward to listening in. Unless anybody had questions for me before I go mute. All right. Well, thank you,
Commissioner. Thank you. With that said, we have, obviously the CEUs are continuing on. All our classes, from what I've understood from all, not all, but many facilitators, as the classes are full again and again and again. And we have many people still out there that I hear that have not taken it and want to find a class to take it. And so we need to, and this is, again, this is the contractor during the 2020 cycle. So that needs it. So with that said, I want to send that out to the board to see if be okay for us to vote to extend that modification through the April date that was set by the governor's office.
I'd like to make a motion to extend it per the governor's order, and I don't know if it has to be the same motion that Richard sent out earlier from the other board.
And I'll second that motion.
Okay, is there any further discussion to extend this executive order 9M for the plumbers continuing ed? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Deny?
Aye.
Okay, we have one. Okay. Okay, so it passes. So good morning, Vinny.
Good morning.
So with that said, we've got that passed. So classes can continue. Let me move on to the, this time.
Can you clarify, are we using the wording that was in the email from the
Yes,
meeting, or is there, okay?
So that
there's-
was my motion.
I just wanted to make sure. So there's two different paragraphs I have here. So it's supposed to look exactly as it was in this.
yes,
Okay, all right. And it was unanimous, correct?
No,
no, Vinny was the no vote.
No.
I couldn't tell if you said aye or denied. So are you
Oh.
in agreement or
I
not?
said aye.
That's what I
Oh,
thought. But that's
okay,
what I thought. So, okay, so it is unanimous. Okay.
That was
Okay.
really Chuck's fault for not paying attention.
okay, Vinny, nice.
good thing
Two
you
thumbs
asked,
up.
Karen.
Yeah, I
All
wasn't
right.
sure. I thought he said aye, but okay.
So the email you all got was the one that the commissioners drafted with the two paragraphs in it. So you're accepting it as written.
Correct.
Okay, and so we want to both extend allowing online classes to be used and extending the deadline to complete last year's.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay, making sure when I get asked, I perfectly understood it. Thank you.
And I sent
Correct.
everybody another email of how many plumbers have taken CE to date. And of course, plumbers are on a 2-year cycle. So I don't think it's a big deal if the contractors are taking it this year anyway. And whatever, and some journeymen already took it last year, surprisingly, because they go with their employer. So, it's almost like you really don't, the journeymen don't have to take it in the odd year. They could always take it in the even year that comes up first, at each cycle.
Richard, I have a question on these numbers. So I'm curious, you say where there's 5475 active plumbing license holders, that's all plumbing license holders regardless of
No,
P1?
that's the ones that are required to take CE. So that's the total count that I obtained, because the P7, P6, P7 don't have to take CE. And then we have some clear ones, which I wish it would get straightened out, like the P8, P9 people for petroleum fuel piping. They have no place to go unless they want to learn how to install waste drain and vents, toilets. But anyway, it does include, the thing that throws it off a little bit that you guys might not think of, it includes irrigation people, the J3 and J4. It includes the pump installers, well pump installers, water conditioning equipment, J1, J2. And it also includes the swimming pool maintenance and repair license types, which comes under the plumbing board, SP1 and SP2. So there really isn't all that many P1, P2s when you think about it, but apparently it's enough to keep everybody happy in the state. So,
Well, I was just
So-
wondering if we were going down on our numbers. So I think we have always had around 8,000 plumbers.
well, there may be total. I can run a report. I had the report up, but I didn't think of it. I should have done that. I thought about doing it for clarification purposes, but
I just
I
want to
can
see if
run,
we're
I can run the
losing,
report again, the total number for each type, and then you guys could look at it if you want to.
if you wouldn't mind. I'm just curious. I'm just want to see if we're losing tradespeople.
You are.
I know, I just want to see how many. So that's important. We need to make sure that we are keeping those numbers up.
I mean, electricians were over 14,000. Now they're down around 13,000 something.
Okay, if you wouldn't mind just sending that out, I'd appreciate seeing it.
All righty.
Thank you.
Great. Okay. All right. So that's good. We'll try to get more classes going with all our providers. Okay. At this time, can we talk, bring on Janita and Pam, and we have someone that Pam wants to introduce as well to us, a new investigator at this time.
Good morning. I'm Pamela Brown, for the record, Director of Investigations. Good morning, Chuck, Commissioner, and the board. I'd like to introduce Wilson Betances, our newest inspector. He replaces John Mesner, so we now have a full staff of 4, and he'll tell you a little bit about himself. Wilson? If you can. Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me?
Good morning, Wilson.
Good morning.
Morning. My name is Wilson. I'm a licensed E1 electrical contractor for the state of Connecticut. I am also a state of Connecticut electrical inspector with the state as well. I previously came from Metro North Railroad in New York City, Grand Central Terminal, where I worked as a fire inspector, investigator, EMS, and fire personnel, where we would also do the site walkthroughs, site safety inspections, as well as cease work orders. So we would do over there for the Grand Central Terminal. We were the AHJ for Grand Central Terminal, and just started roughly around a month now. Happy to be with you guys, working under Janita and Pamela.
Welcome aboard. Congratulations.
Geez, Wilson, it looks like you're all dressed up with your Carhartts, ready to go. You're looks like you're going to be visiting a job today.
No, I'm home. They're fixing the heat at home right now.
Okay. Wilson,
right.
welcome aboard. If you ever need anything, certainly reach out to us at any time, any members of the board, if you have any concerns or questions at all. Obviously, through Janita and Pamela.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Pam, do you mind if I ask, I'm excited that we have another inspector. So what is your plan? He says he's home. So what's the state's plan for hitting job sites? Because people are actually out working on job sites. So what's your department's?
Yeah, so we are out doing inspections, site inspections as much as possible. However, if there are sites where they're not wearing masks, we don't go in. So our safety, our health comes first. We do have PPE, but we're out there, and we're trying to find better ways to, once we are on a site, to control the crowd. So if we have one inspector and there's 12 people, we don't want that one inspector in between all of the other contractors exposing themselves potentially to, if they have COVID or whatever it is on the site. So some of the places I've heard from Janita that they have checkpoints when you come in, they're taking temperature because our staff has to go through these as well. However, we're hitting them as much as we can, but we have to use caution.
So do you have a laptop? Do your inspectors have a laptop to look up licenses for people on site, or how's it working?
Yeah, that's just routine. We have laptops, we have phones that we use as well to do our inspections, take photographs. Technology is not an issue. We have everything that we need to do the inspections.
Great, thank you.
With Wilson coming on, excuse me, with Wilson coming on board, is that an additional inspector, or is this a replacement for an inspector that left?
It's a replacement.
So we don't actually have any
4.
additional. We don't have any additional new inspectors then. We still have the same amount.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Okay, I'll turn it over to Janita for the report.
Thank you.
Thanks, Pamela.
You're welcome.
Hi, Janita.
Hello, Mr. Chairman. How are you?
Good, good. Do you have a report for us this morning? I know you do because we all got it.
Yeah.
But I was wondering if there was anything you wanted to discuss with us this morning.
Only if you have questions. I put the report together for you all to see what's happened in the past 2 months from November 1st, 2020 to the end of the year 12/31/2020. During that time, we had 5 complaints that came in that are new. And during that time, we also had 5 cases that were closed, with one bringing in a assurance of voluntary compliance with a $1,000 forfeiture.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Jeannie at this time?
No.
No, I think she's doing a good job.
Yep.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you,
Bowman.
Janita.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Janita. Good luck, Wilson. You've got a great team you're working for.
Thank you. Looking forward to it.
Thank you, sir. Okay, under old business now, the application review working group. Going to give you an update. Richard, myself, and Todd Birch over at the Department of Labor. We work monthly to discuss. I get a complete list of names to review with the credentials that they are requiring or requesting to be licensed in Connecticut. It's working out very well. I'm not sure if I think we may have had 8 or 9 Karen this past month on the list that we did about a week and a half ago.
It was about 8 on your board, yeah.
Yeah. So some days, some months we have 3. So this past month we had 9, roughly. So we go through each one individually. Karen puts all the paperwork together and gets it to us a day or two before or gets it to me a day or two before the meeting. I have a chance to download and print out and check things out prior to the meeting. And then I can certainly ask the questions as we go through it. It's worked out very well. And if anybody has any questions, certainly ask me. Okay, with that said, okay, so we've already got the extension under old business. Number 2 has been taken care of. Number 3 is the legal administrative hearings coming up with Terry Joe. I think we all got some dates on that. Has everybody got the dates for those hearings? I tried to split it up over a couple months in time frames, so it doesn't impede the entire day on us all. We have to run companies and be involved. So I hope the dates are suitable for everybody as well. Hopefully we can knock all these names and get things hearings squared away on those dates.
I think the next one coming up is the 23rd, correct?
That's what I have. The 23rd is the first one, Chuck.
No, I printed out that copy. Hang on a second. Let me see if it's still sitting in my printer.
I got
that came from Terry Joe yesterday.
I got it.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah, February 23rd, Tuesday, 9 a.m. Yeah, yeah, that's it.
Is there still one on February 9th or no?
I think they canceled that one.
I think that one got canceled.
Hard to keep up with these. Okay, so I'm looking at the second page of the agenda in case anybody goes by that. I put February 9th because at one point there was a meeting.
There was.
Canceled.
So February 3rd February 23rd is a definite. And I put March 9th and March 23rd. I'm not sure if those are definite yet, but that's what we had at the time when the agenda went out. So
yes.
And I know
what was our dates you had, Karen? I'm sorry.
February 23rd is a definite.
Yeah.
I had put down March 9th and March 23rd on the agenda, but I wanted to make sure you guys knew that. I'm not sure Chuck would be the one to know, if that's going to go forward or not. That may be an estimated date at this point. Because Terry Joe does this separately from me. Chuck, do you know if March 9th and 23rd is a definite, or that's kind of an estimated thing?
That's kind of where I went. I figured if people, it didn't work to their schedules, they could contact us back. So I wanted to get the date set.
Okay. Yeah.
So far enough out
Right.
but not put us into the big spring. So I think the dates are pretty fair there, February
people
23rd.
should-
And
Yeah,
yeah,
should make themselves available for the 9th and the 23rd if they can, because that's what you're gonna shoot for.
right.
Yeah, okay.
So I have a question and a comment. So my question is, do we have to have a quorum for these hearings? Because I can't make the 9th of March. So do we need to let you know that, Chuck, so that if you do need a quorum, or is it just whoever can attend?
I think this would probably be a question for Terry Jo. She's not with us today, but
Well,
it'd
just
be
let us know so that we know
Yeah.
whether or not to respond, so
Mhm.
you can move forward.
I was wondering about that too, what the rules are for the legal hearings for, for a quorum. I was wondering that myself.
What was how did the electricians handle it when they had their hearings last season?
I mean, they had enough people. I can't honestly say that I know what the quorum,
Yeah.
what numbers had to be. I know it went, there was never an issue where they didn't have enough people, but I'm really not sure if it's the same 40% as it is for these meetings, or if it's different, because it is a different type of hearing.
Yeah, not everybody's going to be able to make a meeting. I mean,
Right.
I get that. I mean, I should be
Let us
back.
know whether or not it's required, so we know, to let you know.
Check on that, yeah.
Yeah,
And then
I'll keep it. Yeah.
My comment is, and I apologize for this, but I could have sworn, you guys, that the AG's office, we were told as a board, based on the North Carolina dental situation, that the AG's office was supposed to attend. But I heard back from Chuck, you were on that email. Who responded? I forget. And she said,
Eileen,
yeah,
Eileen
said that it's
Mestel.
not required. So I went back and looked at the memorandum of MOU that we all voted on when Commissioner Harris was here. And the only thing I could see was the draft, and nowhere in there does it say. So does anyone else remember? Because I might be losing it. I really thought that they had to be part of it. So I was making this big, and I apologize if I misunderstood. So
And I
really
think
just
there
wanna
was
know if I'm losing it. Does anyone else remember that?
the response back, I believe, from the Attorney General, Eileen Meskel, was that we had taken a hearing class, right? She had given us, remember, Attorney Avalone? And I think that's where I guess, I'm assuming that's what sufficed in this case for them not to attend the meeting.
Well, I apologize to everyone if I misunderstood that.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I remember what Melissa's talking about, and that because of the North Carolina case, that we tread on thin ice if we act as lawyers. And in the draft minutes, the request is made to have an attorney present. I think we should reiterate that request, because a cursory training that we received and appreciated doesn't give us a legal degree, and we could make mistakes. It's not enough training to say that we're expert in the statutes of Connecticut and we're protecting the board and the department. I really think we should reiterate our request to have an attorney present.
Thanks, Benny.
Okay. All right. So I'll try to reach out to the Attorney General, Meskel, and I know we have a gentleman that has served this board for many, many years. I'm not sure. I believe he's still working for the. Don't have his name off the top of my head, but I will reach out to him and see if he wants to come in at even at an individual basis request ahead of time. Is that okay, or you want him at
no
meetings?
I'm not sure what you're saying, Chuck. I think the department needs to have an attorney to protect themselves from any mistake that we might make for lack of knowledge. We're expert in the things that we do, but we're not expert in proceedings and the types of things that someone that's in front of a board, with, very serious matters on the table. I really think that the legal section of DCP should provide a representative from their office. If that's what you're saying, then I apologize, but it's got to be a DCP attorney.
Well, we have a new attorney that is not in this meeting today that's going to be introduced in the next meeting, next hour by Commissioner Siegel. So maybe Commissioner Siegel at this time maybe could talk a little bit about this.
All right, so just, I guess, to clarify what North Carolina Dental said is, it just said the antitrust laws would apply to actions by a board of active market participants if that action affected competition. So it doesn't necessarily mandate lawyers be at those meetings. It just requires that the state have a process in place to ensure that decisions aren't being done in a way that violates the antitrust laws. And sort of the safeguard that's in place in that regard is decisions that you guys have at a hearing would be a proposed decision that I would then review, make sure it matched up with facts. And I would then have to overturn if it violated, I thought, the antitrust laws. In terms of representation, DCP administers to the boards, but the board is technically its own agency, and that's why your lawyers, the Attorney General itself is, or not the Attorney General, but the Attorney General's office represents the board just as their lawyers represent other state agencies. So it becomes a little complicated when we already have the lawyer who's presenting the case, and then to also be the lawyer kind of supporting essentially the judge or jury. And so that's the challenge. And I think what the AG's office has said is they don't feel like they need to be there for the whole hearing, but if a legal issue comes up or you have questions that are legal in nature, you could take a recess, you could do other things, and they would be available to answer those. So as I understood it, that was sort of what they had told you, and maybe Chuck, if you wanted to kind of confirm that at least an attorney would be available on call if issues came up, or maybe you could pose it that way, but they really view the board as their client, not DCP in these matters.
And if they can't make the meeting, we can always table the request until the next meeting. Or if it's an emergency situation, we can always, if we can't get the Attorney General to respond that particular meeting or day, we can again table or request a emergency meeting from the board to meet the DCP, Attorney General's request, or our request to have them at our meeting.
Yes, you just may want to clarify with the attorneys there that you're working with how, like, what the concerns are and how they recommend you handle them.
Raul is his name, now that I think about Raul.
Yeah, Raul, you're right.
Raul.
So Jerry, aren't you DCP legal? That's what it says on your participant.
Yes, I am. My role actually is to draft the decisions for the board. That's a role that the Attorney General's office used to perform. And since the kind of shutdown, I've had the task of drafting most of the board decisions, not just for your board, but for most of the other boards and commissions. So I don't have the position to provide any type of legal advice to anyone during the hearing. But I'm the person that's going to be putting together the decisions that the board will draft when it's appropriate, when you guys have a hearing for, in an upcoming case. We've had a lot of different boards have various types of hearings. Some of them related to continuing education, some of them are license revocations, and there's all various types of board decisions. So I'm just here today just to see what the upcoming schedule of hearings is going to be. I know we just had that discussion a few minutes ago about when you guys expect to hear the next cases. So,
and just to be clear, so he's not making your decisions for you. The board would still make the decision, but he'll help draft it and kind of make sure it matches up with the proper legal citations and sort of is written in a way that kind of meets those requirements and sort of support with the drafting.
And
Yeah,
that
just
gets presented to
support
you,
the board,
Commissioner?
basically.
I'm sorry, what?
And then that gets presented to you, Commissioner, to just review it?
Right, and I'm not gonna like relitigate and decide, do I think you were right or wrong generally? It would just really, I'd be focused, have you made a decision that's bad for competition and that isn't supported by the facts? When we present a case, there's already at least a view by the investigators in the legal division that there's a legitimate case or there. So it's not that you can never find that somebody did something wrong. It's just there needs to be those checks and balances. So when that finding happens, there's somebody taking a look and saying, yeah, this is supported by the facts. And this wasn't just, a board of plumbers trying to get rid of a competitor, that there was something there. And so we went through this, for example, with all the CEs. And for a lot of people, they didn't complete their CEs. They didn't take advantage of their multiple opportunities to kind of make things right. So there were decisions that, kind of took action against people who didn't do that. And those were fine. That, everybody sort of signed off on those. And so that's sort of the process and the checks and balances we're putting in place. And then in addition, you guys can work directly with the AG. So when you have more nuanced or specific kind of legal questions that may come up, either in the course of the hearing or as you're thinking through your decision, that's where the Attorney General's lawyers would have a role.
So just so I understand this, our only, Vinny and everybody, it sounds like we're not going to get a representative available every time we have a hearing, which is disappointing because we're volunteers and they're getting paid by the state. But Chuck, I would just let them know our hearing dates and we put them on notice that we expect them to be available. So that if we do have questions and we're in an area where we're not comfortable, as Vinny says, we're not attorneys, we're volunteers. So Chuck, put her on notice and let her know these are our dates and just say we expect someone to be available.
And I'll reach out to Rail because I know him. He's been great to other boards. I've known him for probably 18, 20 years. I think, Jimmy, you know him.
Yes, I do.
With your history here long before me on the board, and George. So with that said, having him at least, and he's the kind of guy that would say, here, Chuck, here's my cell phone number. You guys got a problem at that hearing, give me a call. And I'll have Karen send or Terry Joe through Karen the hearing dates that we'll be having shortly, the February 23rd, March 9, and March 23rd, 2021 dates and times, just so he's aware of it as well. And I'll reach out to him as well.
Chuck, but I'm not letting the Attorney General's office off the hook. They're paid with taxpayer dollars. And I don't want
I'm not asking them to come
staff
off
to
the.
attend a Zoom hearing for an hour.
Okay, I'll let him know.
We're all
I'll let
here.
him know. Okay.
Thank you.
I think that we're trying to act in the sense that the person that's having the hearing certainly gets the best due process. They're treated very fairly. And at minimally, we should have somebody there checking us procedurally, making sure that we're going through the right process, the person is treated fairly. And I very well understand what Commissioner Siegel said, that it's based on the antitrust idea and that we're trying to knock other folks out. And, that's not our purpose here. We know that, but it has to be clear. I really do believe that we need that assistance in real time, present, not, a phone call away, or, I'm going to use my lifeline now, because that person may or may not be available at the time. And understanding too, that you can't have, someone from DCP maybe because now you're watching yourself. The AG's office offers a more neutral kind of person to have there. But most of all, the intention is that we don't cause more problems for the Department of Consumer Protection as a board, you know, by making mistakes, which we could do. So I'm really, the thought is to protect the department from future problems once that hearing's said and done, and have it cleanly done and also done very fairly to the person having the hearing. You know, that's my thoughts.
Thanks, Vinny. Okay, anybody else? Okay, so I'll take care of that. Does anybody have anything under new business? Okay. With that said, I think we're pretty much done for today's meeting. All in favor of ending the meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Right?
Okay, deny? Okay, so moved. Everybody have a great day, and I'll get on that. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. Goodbye, everybody. Bye, everybody. Take care.
Thank you, all the DCP
Thank you,
people
Chuck.
that attended the meeting today, too. You too, Jerry.
Stay warm.
I know, huh, Mr. Bowman?
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, board members, thank you all very much. Have a good day.
Thank you,
Janika.
everybody.
Take care.
Bye-bye
Good
now.
night.
Karen, great job.
Thanks, Chuck. Have a good day.
You too.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Paul.
Take care, everybody. Take care, Chuck.
Bye. Bye, Pam.
Oh.